Hey beauty babes, welcome to my channel. I'm Maria, aka agapelovegirl. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm going to be doing a full face of Juvias Place makeup, at least mostly full face. I mean, I don't have brow products or mascara or lashes, but they don't really carry those products, so I mean, I think you guys get it. But I pretty much have everything for a full face, including both of their complexion products as far as the I Am Magic foundation and then their new shade sticks. I was sent all of this in PR, full disclaimer for those who don't know or may be new here, but I'm always honest in my opinions, my thoughts, and things like that. And just so you guys know, this won't necessarily be a review type of video. I just want to kind of put some of these products in action so you guys can see how they look. And I may throw in a few opinions and things like that. But for the most part, a lot of these products are fairly new to me. So I will definitely be doing updated thoughts and reviews on these products in my future rewind and replay videos, which is where I kind of share my updated reviews and thoughts on makeup products that I've tried over the last month and things like that. So stay tuned for that if you really want to know my full opinions, but I'll try to share a little bit here and there as I go. Alright, so I'm going to start off first with my base. I'm going to be using the I Am Magic foundation. I am using the shade Martinique. It's 550. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, so I apologize. Now, I have tried this once before. I was just going to do this first impressions and just try it for the first time on camera, but things got delayed and I ended up having to film this video later than I wanted to, so I did end up trying it once before, and I will just say that first impressions, I don't really love it. It's definitely not a foundation that I think is necessarily the best for me personally, but that is because I do have dry skin. I don't tend to prefer really super matte foundations or thick foundations. This one is matte and pretty thick, so it's not necessarily like my jam. That doesn't mean it's not a good foundation, it's just not my preference. So today I went ahead and primed my skin using my SLMD hyaluronic acid serum, just so I can be sure that my skin is prepared and as hydrated and moisturized as possible before I go in with this matte foundation and give it its best shot. Now I'm just going to go ahead and squeeze a little bit on the back of my hand and use a sponge to apply this. The first time I applied this, I used a brush, so I think I want to try it with a sponge this time, see if we can get a better application for me. That coverage is seriously insane. I've really just never been someone who's really big into super full coverage foundations. I like something that's a little bit more medium or buildable or just more natural finish. So this is just very different for me, just not my personal preference. But if you are someone who likes full coverage, likes a more matte foundation, you will probably love this because it definitely yeah, it definitely is gonna go there. Also, I did kind of just guess on the match for myself, so this might not be the right match for me. I do have a couple other shades I can pull to use that might be a better match, but I think because I don't really care for this foundation, I kind of know that off the bat. I don't want to open up and use a bunch more of the other foundations they sent me and have them go to waste just to try it and have a perfect match for me, considering I don't know if I would really use it. Also, I just want to say I did get the shade sticks as I mentioned earlier, and I thought about just using that for my foundation today because I heard those are supposed to be a lot more hydrating and seems like something that's a little bit more of a foundation I personally would prefer. But I really just want to give this I Am Magic foundation another shot. I'm not one who just tries something once and then like doesn't give it a shot again just because I might not have liked it in the first place. I like to be able to give it the benefit of the doubt and really, you know, really give it a fair shot and develop my thoughts, and that way I can update you guys on a review of it. I will just go ahead and say that I am liking the application of it today quite a bit better than I did the first time I used this with a brush, as well as the fact that my skin was a lot more hydrated thanks to the hyaluronic acid serum. But look how much foundation I still have left. I don't know if you could really tell, but I have quite a bit of foundation. I didn't really need that much. I don't know why I squirt out that much. It's kind of crazy. But this gave insane coverage, so I mean that is one really good thing if you're someone who needs good coverage. I mean, even my dark circles, I mean this is absolutely insane the coverage this provides. Moving on to concealer, I do have the I Am Magic concealer. I was only sent 3 shades and 2 of them were quite a bit darker, so this was the lightest one that they sent me. It's shade 18. And I personally would typically go a little bit lighter, like for almost a highlighting effect under my eyes for my dark circles, but we're just going to work with what I have. And I think because this foundation covered so well, it's not like I need too much coverage, but I just want to test this out. So we're going to go ahead and use this shade under my eyes. And that's pretty much it. I probably don't even really need that, but I just want to use it, so that's what we're gonna go ahead and do. I do feel like this concealer blended in really very nicely, but it's really hard for me to tell exactly what it's doing in the coverage it has, considering I've got so much coverage from the foundation. So I do need to try this concealer again on its own to really develop my thoughts on it. So like I said, we'll have to update in a future beauty rewind and replay video. I'm gonna let you guys know what I think, but there you got to at least see it in action. And now I want to go ahead and set, but I am going to be using the shade sticks for my contour. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and set under my eyes mostly, and then put a little bit in my T-zone, but I don't want to set my full face since I am going to use a cream product for my contour. So anyways, I do have this I Am Magic setting powder, and I am going to be using the shade White Sands. But I'm just going to go ahead and use my damp beauty sponge just to kind of press that in. Okay, whew, I feel like that's giving some coverage to my under eyes. I mean, it looks like, looking up close at it, I feel like it looks pretty flawless, but also very, very makeup-y in my opinion. Not like super bad, but I just feel like it's a lot more coverage and just cakey than I would prefer. Not that it looks cakey bad, but yeah, I'm not loving the way this looks. That it's just very different from what I prefer. So we're gonna go ahead and just keep moving on, and we'll see, you know, how I feel in the end. Because sometimes once everything else kind of comes together, it pulls together, and I feel a little bit different in the end. The beginning stages can be a little bit rough sometimes, especially with foundations and powders, but I am pretty picky when it comes to foundations and powders. So anyways, let's go ahead and move on. I'm going to contour, and for that I'm going to be using one of the shade sticks. Now, I grabbed the shade Addis Ababa, or Addis Ababa. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it, but anyways, this was one of the darkest shades I was sent. So I thought in the interest of trying several of their complexion products, I would use this to contour. Now I will also say that I am not someone who is super big into cream contouring either, so this might be against it a little bit too. I'm not trying to give Juvia's Place some, you know, negative, like a negative start or anything like that. I'm just kind of trying it out and seeing what I think, but I definitely will try these products differently as well, and I want to try the shade sticks on their own as a foundation too. So anyways, just want to put that out there, but we'll see how it goes. I'm just gonna go ahead and start slow and, you know, build up as needed. Okay, you know what? This actually looks stunning. Okay. Even though I'm not someone who's big on cream contouring, like I said, this blended out so beautifully. Oh my goodness. Love. I can already tell I'm going to really enjoy these shade sticks. That was beautiful. That blended so quick and easy, as you saw. Oh my goodness. Makes me wish I just used the shade stick for my foundation. But you know what, like I said, I really wanted to give the I Am Magic foundation another shot. Just to be sure, and that way you guys can see it on camera too, what it's gonna look like. Towards the end, I will zoom in to show you guys how my skin is looking up close. I will tell you right now that, like, there is some settling happening right here in my fine lines that I'm not fond of. So there's that, but shade sticks already are a win right off the bat. And actually now buffing that shade stick in up here, I feel like maybe my brush or something kind of helped absorb that bit that was kind of creating settling up here. So I kind of pulled that away. It looks a little bit better. See, that's why I always say, like, I try to wait till the end, because sometimes other products just really pull everything together. And usually for me, it's the contour bronzer that like pulls it all together and helps. I do want to zoom in real quick just to show you guys how my face is looking right now. I think from afar, like if I'm looking in the viewfinder, it looks pretty good. It looks decent. But when I look up close, I feel like my face looks like pretty much, in my opinion, the definition of cake face. Now, while I feel like adding the shade stick for my contour bronzer kind of a thing helped a little bit, the spots where I have pretty heavily the foundation, concealer, and powder, especially under my eyes and then in my smile lines, and not so much on my forehead anymore, because when I went back over it with the shade stick and that brush, it kind of helped blend it in and meld it away, but still it's not looking the best. It's not looking the way I would personally prefer. So I just want to show you guys what it looks like so you can see what it is that I'm seeing and what I don't really love about these complexion products. Under my eyes truly is where it is the worst. As you can see, like see how it's like just, there's so much settling in my fine lines, and there tends to be a little bit of settling in my, you know, fine lines beneath my eyes with any foundation and concealer and stuff, but usually it's not this bad or looking this cakey. So I really just am not loving the way this looks. I imagine it'll clean up quite a bit once I actually go in with my eyeshadow and stuff like that, but still, like, this is not my preference for how I want my, you know, under eyes to look. It's just a little bit too cakey, a little too much a product for me. Also, goodness gracious, I gotta wipe my lips and add a little bit of moisturizer to them. They were looking chippy chapped and awful with that foundation over top of it. Usually I'm not one who likes to get foundation over top of my lips. I try to avoid that, but it just, like, I had so much foundation to work with. It just happened to coat my lips and make them look awful. Anyways, I just want to say, so does my face look the worst it ever has? Definitely not. I've definitely had other experiences with other foundations where my foundation and my face has looked absolutely awful and way worse than this. I think this is definitely workable. There are some things that I can do to kind of help it look a little bit better, and that's with some setting spray, and I do like to use the Morphe setting spray, especially with the foundation or products that seem to be a little bit too heavy or too matte and things like that, and I feel like that can really help. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray a little bit of that on my sponge, and I did get this tip from Jaclyn Hill. So I'm going to spray a little bit on there and then just kind of tap that off a little bit, and then just kind of press this into my skin a little bit on some of the spots where I feel like it's just looking a little bit too, you know, too much, and this could kind of help. So I'm just going to kind of go under my eyes, and then along my smile lines is where I feel like it's just looking a little bit rough. And then we'll go ahead and move on. Oh yeah, see, this trick definitely helps so much. I don't think it's going to completely fix my smile lines, but it's definitely going to make them look a little bit better. Alright, let's go ahead and move on. I'm going to be moving on to the Queen palette for my blush and highlight. And I think I'm going to go ahead and start off with highlight first. I've been kind of going through this phase of laying down highlight first, usually actually before I do bronzer too, but since I was using cream bronzer, obviously I did that first. But anyways, laying down my highlight first for almost a little bit more of a natural look. I mean, don't get me wrong, nothing about this makeup today is going to look very natural, but I don't know, I've kind of been into it. So anyways, for my highlight, I'm going to be using the shade FDV Approved. And I'm just going to go ahead and use a big fluffy fan brush to apply. I tend to like to go a little ham on my nose with the highlighter, but if I feel like I've overdone it, I just go back in with whatever brush I use with my bronzer and clean it up a little bit, tone it down a little bit, you know. So next up for my blush, I have been loving the shade Sister to Sister. In the pan, it looks very, very light and muted, but it actually is such a beautiful blush shade and so perfect for my skin tone at least. I have tried using some of the other shades, Olay or Ula and 7 for blush, and they are very bright and vibrant. Obviously, you can use them with a lighter hand and they look beautiful, but since I'm going to be using kind of corally shades in my eyes today, I don't want my blush to be too loud and kind of contrast badly with my eyes. So I am going to use Sister to Sister for my blush like I mentioned, and just try to lightly place that on. Oh, that color is so beautiful. Like, see what I mean? It's just unexpectedly more beautiful than you would think. I don't want to say unexpectedly beautiful because the shade, it's beautiful, but like when it's on as a blush, it's like, it's not what you expect. At least when I think about it, it surprises me every time. It's just so pretty. Also, already having my highlight on just gives it such a beautiful sheen with the blush kind of going on top. It's just so pretty. Okay, and that's pretty much it for my face. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the eyes. Now, I'm going to be using the Nubian 3 Coral palette. I know this is an older palette, but this is one of the newest ones that I have received in PR. And if you are curious to see some of the other Juvia's Place palettes in action, I do have several videos on my channel with them. I can't remember if I mentioned yet already, but I do have another video tutorial and like first impressions review using the Queen palette on my face as well as my eyes. Then I have a 2 looks 1 palette video using the new Nomad palette. I also did do a multi-palette bingo using the new Warrior 3 palette along with the Nomad palette, I believe. And then kind of quite a bit of an older video that I filmed several years ago, maybe 1 or 2 years ago, using the Nubian, I think it's just the first Nubian palette. It's just a very basic neutral browns kind of palette, but I have that too in case you want to check it out. And I will link all those videos either in the eye or the description box, or maybe make a little playlist so you guys can check out more Juvia's Place videos that I've done. But anyways, I also did do another video with this, and it's just a simple quick-ish tutorial, and in that tutorial I use mostly the silvers and created a really beautiful silver halo eye with some coral colors underneath. But I have been using this palette quite a bit just to get a feel for it. I will just say, like, this color palette, I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but are these shadows nice? Yes. Can you create some beautiful looks? Yes. It's just not my, I don't see myself reaching for it a ton, but I did want to create some more content with it because I was requested to do that. And also, if you have this, you know, it can give you some inspiration to pull it out if this is a color palette that does speak to you. So anyways, with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and get into the eyes, and I think I'm just gonna do kind of a more simple look, and I might just kind of speed through this, not make it like a super drawn out tutorial, just kind of quick show you the eye look, and then we'll wrap up this video. To start off first, I'm just going to take a big fluffy blending brush and go into this lighter coral matte shade in the bottom left hand side of the palette. Take that to my crease area. I'm going to go ahead and take that same shade with that same brush and just kind of carefully blend that on my lower lash line as well. Next, 1 shade up from that matte shade I just used, I'm going to go into this beautiful metallic copper shade. Now I am just going to go ahead and grab a little bit of that shadow onto my brush and then spray it with my Morphe setting spray. I like to do this to ensure that the shadow is the most metallic and applies the best, and as well this does help with less fallout. And then I'm just going to go ahead and apply that all over my entire lid. Alright, now to the right of that shade I just used, I'm going to dip into this dark brown matte shade using a very, very small blending brush, and just kind of take a little bit of that to the outer corner of my eye and blend up into my crease a little bit, just to add a little bit more depth and dimension to this look. I'm going to go ahead and run that on my lower lash line as well. Alright, next up, because I do want to tie in a little bit of silver into this, I'm going to go in with the very first very bright, vibrant, metallic silver shade on a pencil brush and bring that to the inner corner of my eyes. Alright, and that is going to do it for the eyeshadows and my eye look. It's very simple, but I just want to use a few more shades to show them in action for you guys. I think it's a really pretty kind of corally, smoky look. And to finish it off, I'm just going to go ahead and line my waterline with the Urban Decay eye pencil in the shade Double Life, which is just this beautiful kind of like metallic-y, bronzy color. Then I'm going to go ahead and add some mascara off camera, and then I'll be back to show you guys the completed look. Alright, so here is the look complete. For anybody curious, the mascara I used is the Maybelline Great Lash, you know, the one that's in like the pink and green tube. Well, actually the one I get is now only fully pink tube, but it's like the old school one, and it's the curved one. Anyways, completed look, finished. I really like the end result of my makeup, the way it looks, especially from afar mostly. If I'm looking up close, I'm not super thrilled with it. Like I said already earlier, I don't really love my base, and I did notice that while I was doing my eyeshadow, like some of the product kind of came up a little bit around my eyes. I think it's just I had too much product there, and I'm not used to it. And you know, I'm not trying to put all the blame on the products. I could have definitely done my eyeshadow first, and that's something I kind of go back and forth between doing, is do my eyeshadow first, then my face afterwards. And lately, for some reason, I've been on this kick of doing my face first, then my eyes last, so that definitely can play a part in kind of messing up your base. If you want your base to be like the most flawless, you definitely want to do that last, and I know that. But I will say that that foundation I just really think is not going to be for me. It's just a little bit too thick and heavy for my personal preference, but I think from afar it looks really good. I feel like everything pulled together really well, and I like the completed look. I think the look that I did for my eyes today is really, really pretty. Just a very beautiful, vibrant, kind of corally, smoky eye, and the little pop of silver in the inner corner actually went pretty well with it, I think. For my lips, in case you're curious, I don't have any Juvia's Place lip products. I don't think they have a lot. Maybe they, as far as I know, they just have the Queen glosses. They may have more, I'm not quite sure. But I just threw on very, very lightly because I didn't want this color to show up too vibrant. But this is the Urban Decay Hi-Fi Shine lip gloss in the shade Snitch. So I just lightly put that on my lips, and this is the completed look. Like I said in the beginning of this video, this is not necessarily a review type of video. I just really want to put all these products in action so you guys can see them. I will update my thoughts in a future rewind and replay video, sharing more of my thoughts after testing them out, because while I do know right off the bat that this foundation isn't for me, I still want to test the concealers on their own. I feel like it'll perform a little bit differently without such a heavy foundation underneath, so I really want to put those to the test and see what I think about them, as well as the powder on its own as well, or separately without this foundation. But right off the bat, I am so far loving the shade sticks, so that's kind of a plus for me. But anyways, just some quick thoughts to wrap up this video. Stay tuned for more thoughts and reviews on other makeup products, and if you like this video, I do hope you would give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, consider subscribing. I'll go ahead and throw some videos here on the screen if you'd like to check out more of my content. Don't forget to check out the eye, where I'll have linked other videos of Juvia's Place products and things like that. But with all that being said, I just want to thank you so much for watching, and until next time, much love and hugs to you. Bye, beauty babes. Mwah!